stuff, but most of it like related to video game programming and stuff.
Sure.
Yep.
We're all sitting on this side so he can see us. Camera will cover the whole.
Well, I'm wondering how they want us to set up for the Coco show.
What? For the Coco show. So you're going to be after this one, right?
Right. So, what time is the current thing?
1:15. It's a short.
Okay.
Shouldn't we start by now?
Everybody on this side of the room, please.
Oh, you got the camera facing.
Oh, it's a reason for that. You got it? Damien, you must. Oh, it's
Yeah. Oh, or you're going to
It's making get a feel of the crowd.
over here. That's perfect.
You're on the wrong side, man.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, whenever you guys wanna.
Maybe you will start, okay?
You want me to start?
Yeah.
Okay, this guy is Camille. Yeah, this guy on screen is Camille, Polish guy I met a few years ago, doing a dragon demo. Needed some help, I helped him out. So about 6 months ago, no, it's about 3 months ago, isn't it? You contacted me. About 3 months ago, you contacted me, you wanted the Coco, yeah?
Yeah.
So I sold you one of my Coco 2s. I had 3 of them. I sold you one of my Coco 2s, and we started doing demos, didn't we, Camille?
Yeah, we started to do something. At first, we started to do wireframe vectors. Depth field vectors, but shapes made of lines. And after that, we decided that we could do something more. And we ended up with something like this. Let me show you already. This is the program we've been working on for 1 month. There were plenty of optimizations involved. Simon helped me with a lot of tricks, as I wasn't so experienced in coding on 6809 processor, and I was learning by coding basically. So someone was giving me some tips and was checking my code, and after that month we were able to present a fully working 3D cube rotation. And this program is suited also for other kind of 3D stuff, like stuff consisted of polygons, because what you see is surfaces that are consistent of 2 triangles. Each surface is 2 triangles, and the way it's being drawn is the method of plotting whole bytes into the memory. It's not drawing the pixels, but whole bytes, one byte at once. So it's fairly quick method. As you can see, it runs pretty smoothly. Okay, that's all I've got to say. Maybe Simon wants to add something.
I don't know. Does anyone have any questions?
The performance is really amazing to see. I'm curious, in your testing and where you are with this, what do you expect in terms of how many surfaces you'd be able to plot with this kind of performance, or does it happen all at once so you're limited? You wouldn't be limited necessarily.
Well, there is no limit to surfaces, but of course the frame rate will drop down when dealing with more than 6 surfaces as now.
Okay.
For now, there are 6 triangles, and as you can see, the speed is mediocre, but with more surfaces, it will drop down, of course.
Is the code that you're using going to be something that's available for people to see, or?
Eventually, yes, but we are going to first we are going to release a demo scene production with Simon that includes this effect. So I guess after the demo is released, we will release the code to the public as well.
Camille, can we release the binary on the cube?
Binary?
Yeah, just the binary for the cube itself.
I would rather not.
Okay, we'll wait.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, guys, we've gone from wireframe vectors to fill vectors here. So, what do you think?
Let me show you the wireframes. Fairly faster.
Yeah.
It's amazing that this processor is capable of doing so many operations, like plotting the points on the screen, and it's quite fast, even with so limited frequency of the processor, which is the lowest frequency I've been working on so far.
Yeah, that's amazing. Is the I noticed on the fill, and I've seen this on some other 3D translations of code. I think it was an early version of Doom where the distortion on the 3D space gets a little bit bent because of the accuracy of math. Is that happening? Because it looked like there was a slight bend on the curve on the surface when you have the filled surface. Is that something that you've noticed or seen, or is it?
Well, you mean perspective?
Yeah.
Yeah, perspective is still to be sorted out because it's just something I came up with one day and didn't want to correct it, but maybe we should do it. Yeah.
But yeah, guys, now you see fill vectors, Coco 2, standard Coco 2, 64K.
Yeah.
Anything can be done.
We are very optimistic when it comes to this demo. I think that we could show something unusual on Coco. I'm very excited that I can work with Coco because I fell in love with this computer actually. I've got Atari and Commodore and ZX Spectrum background as a coder, but the Coco is another league, another sort of computer. And I love its simplicity, and the processor is really great. And I also bought Dragon computer, so hopefully I'll code also more for this machines. Okay, Simon, I've got nothing else to say. Do you want to add something?
Any more questions, guys?
Thanks a lot for the demo. I'm looking forward to seeing when you have something released.
Okay,
Right,
thank you for the time.
Is there a website where we can go to follow your progress?
Not really, but we will keep you informed on Discord channel, I believe. I guess the Discord channel for Coco computers is widely known among you. So I guess this will be the best source. We'll publish the finished project there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, have a good day, guys.
Have a good day.
Screen.
What?
Project a YouTube video on the screen. Could be a red forever. Gambling. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. Spinning the on that wheel. I think we can do these Godfather in those pictures. A lot more. Make it fair. And then they can order another half. The world, let's say usually race, there they were, for example, all hardcore is what and now they're all servers. And then I can't want that behind you. Oh, these, no, yeah. You know, live. It doesn't have to. In my opinion, your phone. That's apparently. I think that's yeah. We're not able to be separate in the structure words we're very fancy. Me too. I have to. I got that one with the other why I read and all that. I tend to operate. That's low. And that's yeah. That's your man. And just that's like that the other students gave that big point. And that's how to kill. You think about it, times. That's the part over using these outfits are for people that think a green screen's too glaring in your eyes. He's my Geiger gunner. Black 19. Black 19. It's not like right. Like they have. Don't carve too much. Get the glare of it. Pretty all right. We're good to go. All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming out this afternoon, morning to afternoon to watch the Coco Show. Appreciate it. So in lieu of our normal opening, I'm just going to say it's Whirly Bird Run at the live from CoCoFEST, and then you guys are going to erupt into raucous applause. Okay. Okay. Everybody for you. All right, here we go. It's Whirly Bird Run at CoCoFEST live. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Coco Show. I'm John.
And I'm Aaron.
And today, Aaron, we're talking about Whirly Bird Run.
Yeah.
You know, Aaron, whirly kind of sounds like swirly.
It does.
You ever get the old swirly cricket?
Well, I mean, clearly it'd be a difficult task now. You have to be the inverted swirly.
Yeah.
Somehow
How would you do that? How would you dip the beer?
It'd be hitting pretty limber, I would guess.
Yeah.
Have a really big toilet ball.
I guess there's a lot of downsides for being you, but one is that you're extremely unlikely to be inverse swirly.
No, you're right, David. No, I never got one of those back in the day.
Do they have that in Canada? Is the swirly a thing, or was that only in the United States?
Where I grew up, we didn't have it too much. I don't even
No, the
recall
toilet
it.
froze over. They
Yeah.
couldn't get to it.
You can't remember we go outside, we pee, it just freezes and falls in.
Yeah. We should mention, by the way, Elkhurst Boil, everybody.
Yeah. So before we get into the game, Aaron,
Yeah.
you know, how's your CoCoFEST experience been so far?
It's been dandy. It's been intimidating because like I said, we started the show today. The fellow before it was, I guess it was in Europe or whatever. He was doing this intricate demonstration with spinning cubes and all kinds of programming hips and stuff. And our two idiot butts rolled through the screen. Here come the clowns. Here we are. So, but everywhere I went, everyone's been real friendly. Everyone's super duper smart, and everyone's really into the whole retro computing thing. I was surprised. It's not just Coco, but it's like a lot of across the board. A lot of people are sending everything. I've seen ZX81s in there and all sorts of crazy contraptions. Yeah, it's great to see all that sort of thing. I really had a real good time. What did you think so far?
Yeah, I mean, this has been, like you said, I wasn't expecting the breadth of Coco people. Like, I was expecting a very narrow focus. We only like Coco, and that's all we do, and everybody else can shove it. But, I mean,
you think that's
what I was expecting here.
April, man, aren't you?
But I mean, yeah, I love seeing all the collections. I love talking to people. We're lucky because we've got a table, so people just walk by and I just grab them and make talk.
Yeah,
great.
They're good.
And so and we hear about all these people's collections and how they got started with Coco. All these people that have been to like every CoCoFEST since like '86.
Yeah,
it's insane.
It's neat.
I know I missed a few.
Yes.
I'll tell you something else I enjoy because we're the games. We like games. The game stuff. I think a lot of people have cool games set up. The fellow beside us has the 2 Cocos that are networked together, so you can play a dog fighting game with a P-51, which is neat. So it's cool to see some game action here too, along with the super high tech stuff that we're too stupid to understand.
Yeah, which is a lot of it.
That's all of it. Yeah.
And I've heard if you've been to quite a few CoCoFests in your time, where did this one rank so far?
This is the best one I've been to since probably 2001.
Wow, that's pretty good. It's pretty good. What's made it so good so far?
A lot of new faces. I mean, one thing, if you're in a retro community, you have to be able to bring new people in. Otherwise, as soon as we get old, the community's done, as Frank said during his. And the fact we're getting a lot of new blood coming in, and a lot of new people who've never had Coco. Some people have come back for the first time in 30 years, like the wide gamut of it. And then the variety, like there's hardware people, there's software people, there's gaming people, like that's another thing. And the attendance, like Grant, I think you said we've already met last year's entire attendance. We're still expecting people tomorrow that aren't here today. So this is a record attendance one for a decade or so.
So, wow, that's fantastic. Well, listen.
And your outfits, obviously.
Yeah, of course. So, let's kick things off and talk a little bit about Whirly Bird Run.
When we, for those of you who aren't familiar with the way we do stuff, every month we have people that vote on the next game we play, right? And we were doing this at a weird time, so the votes weren't in. And so arbitrarily, I just said, well, how about Whirly Bird Run? And little did I know we'd be presenting it in front of a live audience. So, but luckily, it's a good game, I think. If you're not familiar with it, this was the contest winner. It was a contest winner for Spectral Associates, I believe you said.
Yep.
They offered a $2,000 prize for the winner, and this was the winner. And a contract. Good move, by the way, because clearly this guy had talent. The fellow that wrote this, he won the contest. He won the money. Now, when you talk about this guy's name, which name would you think is the best way? Because why don't you go into that? Because you talked to me about this last night, and I wasn't familiar with it.
Yeah, it's kind of a convoluted story. So he entered the contest and was published in Rainbow as being the winner of the contest as Brett Norman. And that's actually just his first and middle name. And then he started using his full name as Brett Norman Keaton. And there's a TDK you'll see in some Spectre games, which is Tom Keaton. And there's a Tom Keaton that's a father and a Tom Keaton that's a brother. I'm not sure which one was the other programmer. But they wrote their own games for Spectral. They wrote some games they collaborated on for Spectral. So Brett ended up doing quite a few, but he's gone under both names, depending on which game you're looking at.
Yeah. And now it's funny because when we were researching this, I saw a lot of ads for this game in magazines, and it always paired up with a game called Lunar Road Patrol, which is another fun game. And I had no idea, but they were written by the same guy, just under different names.
And with his brother.
With his brother, yeah. So this came out again. I guess he wrote this in '82 and they won the contest in '82 and they produced in '83. Is that right?
Yeah, basically what Spectral did is they announced the winners in the February 1983 Rainbow. Then they did the contracts. They had great artwork for the advertising and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
And I think it came out in July of '83. Rainbow was one of the first kind of advertising.
And this amazingly runs on IndyCoco 16K.
Yep.
Which is impressive.
Considering it has all the levels
and the scrolling and stuff. This game is, I guess, it's sort of what you would get if you cross Super Cobra and Scramble. I mean, it's basically a Scramble clone with a helicopter, which is what was in Super Cobra. And this would have been, I'm trying to think what year, I think this, Super Cobra would have been out by now. So he sort of took the best of both worlds, which is, I mean, if you ever played Scramble, it's sort of the quintessential scrolling shooting bombing game of that era, 2D, where you pilot a craft. It's an arcade game. where you pilot a craft over a landscape through varying levels, and your goal is to shoot everything on the screen and get there are fuel tanks at the bottom of the screen. You bomb them to replace your fuel. I don't know how that works, but if only you did it in real life, I just dropped by a gas station with a bazooka. I start popping caps. But once you blow up the fuel, it goes into your fuel tank, so you have to have fuel to keep going. The neat thing about this game, I used to know it, Super Cobra, but Scramble, the arcade board was real unique because it was one of probably the most hacked arcade board on Earth. They hacked it to do everything and put in ROMs and bootleg, and you could look back to a catalog of games that they made to run on everything from like fake Donkey Kongs, the fake Space Invaders, the fake Galaxy, and everything on that board. It was highly hackable. But it was a good game, too. And then eventually, Super Cobra Camp was sort of a more advanced version with better graphics for more like buildings and stuff.
And more levels and stuff, too.
Now, this game, what makes this one unique on the Coco, to me anyway, is that they got the control system down with, in the arcade, you've got 2 buttons set up, one for firing and one for bombs. And this, they just consolidate them. I don't know why they didn't always do that, period, because no one just hits one or the other. I'm always doing both because you can't tell where you're bombing half the time because you're too busy trying to dodge through stuff. The game has real smooth scrolling, and the landscape moves at a better pace than you'd think. I was really surprised at the amount of stuff they could put on these different screens. Had you played this before, Bo, before we tried this out?
Never. I'd never played Whirly Bird Run, and I have only a very passing experience with Scramble.
Yeah. Had you ever played in the arcade, I guess?
No.
I mean,
That was like 10 years before I was.
well, you don't have to say it. Don't say it.
I like a rough thing.
Yeah, I'm sure you played in the arcade, didn't you? Scramble when it came out. Yeah, they're both fun games. Of course, again, this, unlike a lot of games that year, this one has multiple levels. You'll roll through the first level, it's just you're kind of going over like a mountain pass or whatever, and then you're on to the second level, and that's when the UFOs come out. When you in between levels, you get sort of a flash. Yeah, this is the level right here. The UFOs come out. Now, I will say, I tried Scramble this week, but as I was playing this, Scramble a lot harder than Whirly Bird Run. But it's so hard, it's super hard. This, you actually have a fighting chance to get through it. And if you're clever about it, I like to go through this like without moving a lot, and just try to shoot. You can bomb and shoot UFOs as you go over them. How far did you end up getting this? Did you get past this?
Yeah, I got past a couple levels. There's some things that really impressed me about this game.
Yeah.
Okay, right off the bat, I was like, oh, it's a green screen game. Here we go. I had to mentally prepare myself for just it's a lot of green. But once the game got going, I was like, man, this is a technically impressive game, and I didn't realize that it would run on 16K.
Yeah,
so that's doubly impressive because first of all, your helicopter looks fine, but the blade rotating animation I thought was pretty convincing. I'm not exactly sure how many frames that is, but it gives you the illusion that you've got that spin. Plus, you've got the tail rotor spinning too, so they didn't have to do that. Second of all, you have tons of different enemies in this game, and they're all different sizes and they're all different shapes. It's not like a Space Invaders thing where it's just like kind of a palette swap or, they adjust a couple things. Like, you've got a wide variety of enemies. They all have different attack patterns and they're all different shapes and colors. Okay? Number 3 is the speed of the scroll. I don't know that I've played a shooter on the Coco, or really any game on the Coco, that scrolled this quickly, that put this many items on the screen, and there is absolutely no slowdown at all.
Yeah, it runs real well, and especially on like this level, this is the third level here, where you're taking on meteorites. I always thought as a kid they looked like sort of like arrowheads when you were fighting, but they're like fireballs or something like that. These can't be destroyed. You have to go through them. These first couple levels, let's say the first 3 levels, are not that tough. Then you get to the brutal fourth level, the level of death. And this is the level where you've got to guide your helicopter, you're underground, which is never a good idea. I don't know, has that ever happened in real life? You see it in movies and stuff?
If it wasn't, I think it involved alcohol.
No, land that sucker. What are you doing? But when you go into this thing, what you do is you have to navigate your copter through, and the openings are diabolically small. And so as you go through them, they'll be clogged with stuff. There'll be missiles or fuel tankers or whatever. You have to shoot those to get through. The first couple not so bad, but then he starts the ones where you have to play the scroll game, which means you have to move your copter as far forward as you can to the screen, as the screen scrolls, and then you've sort of got to let your copter go with the scroll as you navigate yourself through these tiny cracks in these caves. It's brutally difficult. It's almost always where you lose all your men. And I was just telling Curtis, because when I was a kid, I could get through this level, which is the 4th level. And then there's a 5th level with an end. But yeah, it's even worse. But there is an end to this. And I could get there. But I tried like gangbusters. And when these levels, when you get to the end of them, they flash. And last night I got to the point before where I got to the point where it started flashing. And then I died of my last man. So it's brutal. It's a brutal game. But it's fun. It keeps you coming back. But it's almost like we play a lot of ZX games, and they love pixel perfect jumps and stuff like those. And this is sort of like an area where you have to basically have a pixel perfect flight through these little crevices. Did you get past this part, Bud?
No.
Did you get to the part
I did not get to the part where you dive into the cave.
Oh.
I don't know what you call skill with these type of games. Lightning book reflex.
And he's younger one. I don't understand.
Well, listen. So youth is overrated. I'll tell you that right now. You know, one thing I wanted to mention, you talked about this, the green screen game. I did notice that there were several different versions of this floating around. And there's one that I've got that lets you pick between the color sets. Artifact. It's really good. Actually, the one or two of the color sets are real fine. They look great. Much better than this. I'm assuming was this color picked for like they were going to purchase the dragon? Is that what was going on?
The one
here?
you saw that lets you pick the color set is the dragon version.
That is the dragon version.
Now the original Coco version purposely did this. So the first 3 levels are basically you're somewhat outside. I mean, technically this is kind of a rock thing, but you're kind of in open air.
Yeah.
So they kept the bright colors for this. When you get to the 4th and 5th levels, it switches to the black artifact color because now you're inside the cave.
Inside the cave, I see.
So they did that on purpose. So the cave levels, both 4 and 5, are black background to make it look like you're inside a cave. And the first 3 are kind of like daylight colors.
Yeah, weather effects.
Yeah. His green slime is obviously weather.
That's rough weather out there. That's after the apocalypse happened. So overall, I thought this was a fun one, Boat. I actually, it's not easy to come by reviews on some of this stuff, but I always like to look up what other people say. And there's a guy out there, I'd love to meet this guy sometime. He runs a webpage called The Ice People.
Mark Sabatini. I just got in contact with him again. He was living in Greece for 10 years.
Yeah.
Then he had to take care of his mother who passed away. But he's starting to get back into the Coco community. He's thinking about starting his webpage back up again. And I'm going to try to get him on an interview on the Coco Nation.
You're a mute, Curtis. I want to go ahead and say that. I'm talking to Curtis about this contest the kid won, right? And Curtis was like, oh, yeah, Rainbow 1983.
August 82.
Like, what's that? You're plugged in, man. I'm about to tell you. Free. Anyways.
Then I can't remember simple things like bringing chocolate bars.
Yeah, there you go. Now, what you say this guy's name was? Sabatini?
Mark Sabatini.
From Greece, huh?
No, he's from Alaska originally, actually. But his family and him moved to Greece for work.
You're right, this guy's bought.
No, he asked him, like, where have you been? And he actually said,
What color is his house?
Yeah.
White.
Green.
Is it green?
Green. Anyways, make quotes from the fellow. He gave Whirly Bird Run a B+. Right? He said, this version of Scramble was hardly the most impressive game Spectral Associates ever coded, but I admit I got rather hooked on it. It has 5 of the 6 arcade stages, lacking only the 4th stage, which the 4th stage in the arcade is pretty sweet. It's the building one. Yeah. So fly through the mountains, dodging rockets and UFOs and asteroids before hitting the final 2 stages, which involve navigating your chopper through some really nasty caverns. That's a fact. And I mean, so nasty, there's not enough room for a pixel's worth of errors at the time. That's also true. But overall, he liked it. And he's also mentioned that he was a big fan of Scramble. But that would do it for you. Now, when we talked about this guy having multiple names, and we talked about some of the other stuff he did. Of course, we mentioned he did the lunar patrol. He did this. He also done. He said was a Galagon was one of his.
Yeah.
And what was it? There was one more we found out. Now he goes blank. I'm just blanking.
Tom Keaton, the brother/father, he did Galax Attacks.
Galax Attack was that was written there.
He did another one. I don't remember which one it is. So.
The guy's got skill, for sure. So it's definitely one to check out. Do you play this ever? Do you ever load this stuff up anymore?
This one I do. Out of all the Scramble clones that Coco has, there's a ton of them.
Yeah.
Few Dragon ones too. Like there's Scramble from Tom Mix. There's Tube Army on the Dragon, which also has been ported to Coco. There's this one. This one to me plays the smoothest. It also fits the 60K. It's the only one that does, and has 5 levels, which I think Some of the ones you might have less. There's another one, that was on one of the TV magazine ones, like one of the tape magazines.
Yeah.
There's quite a few other versions of Scramble, but all of them require 32K except this one. And this one honestly plays smoother than the ones that require 32K.
You know, I hesitate to mention this, but it was a side story. But my brother, we grew up with COVID, and we like to augment the games with some literal reality to make them more fun. All right, so
you were shooting gas tanks?
well, no, but what we would do, for example, and I remember this game was, and we did this on multiple games. This is one of them, and like the level running, for example. One of us would take turns playing it, while the other one basically threw stuff at the guy. You know, like usually it was like rolled up socks. I remember that, and other things like that. And to make it more fun, to up the challenge. So sometimes the game ended when I turned around and just destroyed the bread right there. We do it all the time. Now that was early virtual reality back in the day. You got any final thoughts on this little book?
Well, we did get one Discord review.
Oh, very good.
Okay, and Exile in Paradise, Robert Allen Murphy, sure you all are aware of him from The Nation. He says, Whirlybird Run is always good as a quick pickup action shooter. I don't know what sorcery is at work to refill your fuel from bombing the fuel pods, but at least it works. Some stretch of this game are smooth and easy flying, but others are maddening pixel perfect gauntlets, and that's part of what makes this a good bit of a challenge to keep you trying to fly a little further. And the gravity bombs are their own bit of a challenge to see if you can knock the rockets out of the air using the bombs rather than guns. Great visuals, serviceable audio, and great gameplay make this a keeper to fill up the rainy day.
Yeah,
So you like it.
I think it's a fun one to play.
Yeah, it's a good one. Now, Aaron, before we close out the Coco Show, we got to talk a little bit about one of the guys that makes the Coco Show happen every month, and that is Frank at RetroRewind.ca.
I've heard of him.
Listen, guys, it's real talk.
Oh man, I'm getting weird now.
Okay, you got a Coco, you're messing around with disk drives and cartridges and stuff. You're not going anywhere with that stuff. What you need is a Coco SDC. Okay, you get rid of all your physical media. You back up your disk with your grease weasel.
Don't get rid of your physical.
And what you do is you head over to RetroRewind.ca. You pick up a Coco SDC. You fill it full of all your favorite software, games, applications, operating system. There you go. And away you go. You don't need anything else. Now, if you've got a Coco that's kind of iffy, if it works sometimes it doesn't, maybe something has gone wrong. Most likely you are not the right person to fix your Coco.
Oh, certainly.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay. What you need to do is you need to send your Coco to a place where they have top of the line, professional level tools and technicians to make sure that your Coco will continue on long after you're gone. And looking around this room, that's probably going to be pretty soon. So, RetroRewind.ca for all your Coco needs.
Not affiliated with this man.
We do not endorse CoCoFEST.
We were going to do this. We're going to do it anyway if we want to. Anybody want to come up and speak on this game? Anybody have any hilarious childhood stories, secret tips? Anybody ever fly a real chopper underground? Anybody want to?
Especially want to hear those stories. Well, Ken, you never played Whirlybird Run?
Doesn't have anything to say about it.
Yeah. Is this one you played as a kid or the one you got to play?
Yeah. Well, so
It's a long time ago for me.
I do remember my 12-year-old self thinking, what the heck? They even have your extra choppers.
Yeah. It's super raw. Any other thoughts on Whirlybird Run? Well, listen, since I've got you all here, I'd like to invite you all.
Oh no,
Oh,
it's
no.
ancient.
1983. Written in 82.
You can't control yourself.
In just about an hour after Curtis's world-changing presentation,
Snooze fest.
okay, we are going to be running CoCoFEST Jeopardy here, right in this very room, right before the auction. We have 3 top-of-the-line contenders that are vying for a $50 gift card from Retro Rewind. Guys, I know you guys know your Coco trivia as well as anybody else. You might want to show up just in case anybody can't make it for some reason and we need a last minute alternate. But tune in, come in here. It's going to be a really fun time. Lots of Coco trivia, CoCoFEST Jeopardy coming up right after Curtis's presentation. All right, well, that's going to do it for Whirlybird Run, guys. Thank you so much for coming out to see us. If you're listening at home, thank you for listening. If you'd like to support The Coco Show, you can head on over to patreon.com/The Coco Show. And we also broadcast most weeks live on Twitch at twitch.tv/Amigos Retro Gaming. We'll see you all next time, and until then...
Is this going to be on the internet?
It is going to be on the internet. And until then, all hail...
Right. Let's let more people back in.
We're gonna change.
Now we start breakdancing. We do.
Yeah.
Entertainment.
Come on the table and